Now a puree is food which has been put through a blender or a strainer, and this is the vegetables that we were using earlier. We put a bit of water with it. Now I'm going to put it into the blender. We're going to blend it down into a puree. If you can possibly find a blender, it's one of the most important useful tools that you can have in a kitchen. And they really aren't that expensive. You would save yourself the price of a blender in baby food. Baby food can be quite expensive. You do exactly what I've done here, but just one vegetable at a time. Use fresh vegetables and good vegetables. Don't use leftover vegetables for baby. So you do exactly what I've done before. You put it in a pot with a little bit of water, boil it, and no salt. Then you put it into your blender and blend it into a puree. Then you put it into ice cube trays, and you've got little cubes of sweet potato, little cubes of carrots, little cubes of broccoli, little cubes of whatever, peas, so on. And you can make your own baby food that way. You can save yourself a tremendous amount of money. So to puree then, you put the lid on. Now, I'm doing this because I broke the lid. So you pulse. Now I have a little more liquid in there than I could have had. Could have taken some liquid out before. Then put it into a container and pop it in the freezer. So that's how you make a puree. Very easy. And again, we are using free food because that is things that people possibly would have just put in the garbage or in the compost. Now a cream soup is a milk-based. So to use a puree, make cream of celery with a little bit of other things all in with it. We start out by making our white sauce. Now we'll bring this back up to a boil. I've got my sauce made, and just simply add equal quantities of milk and of puree. So there's 2 cups in that, and I've made it 2 cups of a medium sauce. Now I made a medium sauce because I'm adding 2 cups of that, and it's going to dilute down by this putting it in. Cream sauce also thickens as it gets cooler. Mustard is great. I have put salt and pepper though in the sauce. Mustard is a good flavor. Caraway is a good flavor. Tarragon is a good flavor. And cheese is always a good flavor. As I stir the soup, I can tell that it's too thick. So I will put some more milk in to thin it down a bit. Remember that a cream soup always gets thicker as it cools. So I just as soon have it this way. You can adjust a soup by thinning easier than you can thicken a soup that you make too thin. I'm going to put in a bit of cheese because cheese is very compatible. I'll put the cheese in. Add a little cheese flavor. Just to make our soup a little more interesting, if you happen to have a bit of broccoli flowerets, you could break up some pieces and put them in just at the end of the cooking period and stir them up. I'd also like to show you how to taste. It's very tempting sometimes to taste off the cooking spoon, but it's not a good idea because you can certainly burn your mouth. So put a little bit into another spoon and taste and see. I think it's pretty good. So let's put a spoonful out. Now you can also decorate it if you like, just with a few little bits on top. And another thing that you might like to add is a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. So there is a cream soup. Our tomato vegetable soup should be ready. Give it a stir. It's been simmering away, and as long as the vegetables are cooked, So here we have a nice bowl of homemade vegetable soup and homemade cream soup and a stock soup.